and Major Hector Quintanilla is now the chief of Project Blue Book. Major Quintanilla, what are the objectives of Project Blue Book?
As I'm standing there, I kind of, it's a very hard feeling to describe. Skinny arms, skinny legs, but I could only see about half of this thing.
It was just an eye-opening experience. There was a ship coming over the house.
It was like a white light sort of thing that we saw. It was coming out of a cloud.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Aliens and Strand podcast. I'm your host, Donald Desma, and welcome to today's show. It's going to be a little short one here, but I just want to talk to you a little bit about what's been going on here on Alien Strand. So I've been doing a lot of audio podcasting today. I'm going to show you just a couple of small things and a video today of a UFO. So and some new photos as well that's going to be coming through. So tomorrow, don't forget, I did have this past podcast. Go check it out on audio. Now on minute 12, it goes blank for about a minute. I was having I think Big Brother was hitting me for a minute there, but it's a great podcast. I talk about those UAPs that have been happening here lately in New Jersey. So go check that out. That's on audio. All these are on audio. I really appreciate you guys for just listening to those. Tomorrow's podcast, I'm going to have this tomorrow evening on audio. It's going to be with Don Rogers and Canadian Spinja. That's his wife. They've had some personal NDEs, near-death experiences, and I'll be talking with them tomorrow. So catch up to that show. It's not going to be visual. It's going to be audio only on that one. That's going to be coming up tomorrow night. All right, go check those out on Spotify, Spreaker, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Of course, I'll be on iHeartRadio and all those good things that come along. You know, those UAPs lately that they've been catching up in New Jersey and stuff. You know, it's drones. Let's just say they're drones of some sort. And just a lot of people have been witnessing these things that have been happening up in that sky area right lately. And they're trying to figure out exactly what these things are, right? So I am actually gonna have a podcast tomorrow only on Patreon, right? So you have to follow me there. And there's a free membership. Just join for free, or if you want to pay the $5 one, that works great too. You get some exclusive stuff that I have on video that you won't catch on when I have my presentations. All right. So just make sure to go to our Patreon. That's what it's going to look like there on the right, and our YouTube page, right? A lot of our video podcasts and presentations are on there. All right. So anyway, I'm going to have one tomorrow. I'm going to explain the drones, the lights, the nav lights, on everything that you're supposed to know in just in our standard FAA, right? So that way you know exactly what's in the skies when you're using your phone or anything like that to track an aircraft before you start thinking it's a UAP, right, or a UFO. And so that's the best way to do it. As far as Alien Strand Disclosure Project, I recommend a lot of people just go ahead and use those apps first before you start saying it's a UFO, because you need to know where these lights are supposed to be on these aircraft, all right? Because they are aircraft, regardless if it's an airplane, a drone, or a helicopter, right? Those are the only things we have that pretty much fly right now, right? And So we have to know exactly what those are, and we can distinguish what they are before we start saying they're UAPs. Now, of course, it's all over the news today. I mean, it made national news, man. New Jersey, of exactly what's happening out there on those drones that they're catching, or they're saying that it's a possible. I'm not going to say a UFO mothership, but they're saying that it's a possible, maybe Iranian ship that's on our eastern coast out there, and it's actually launching these drones, and they're actually spying on us. Hey, I don't know, man. That's a scary thing, especially now in this day of age. But that's just something different, to think about. Um, I have this person, and she's been sending me a lot of things that she's been catching lately um, with her actual ways video, right? And I know this is looking through a window glass, and I always tell her, please clean the glass. I know if she apparently she lives in an apartment complex or something, so she sent me this. She goes, man, and she's catching these extraterrestrials as well, like little alien looking things, like in the trees and things all over the place, right? So she's been sending me a lot of stuff. I was like, well, let me see if I can break that picture down. And it's kind of hard to see, but it almost looks like a tic tac in the middle of that. And what I did was I broke it down for her, and when I sent it back to her, she's like, "What's this?" And I was like, well, it's what you have in the picture, right? What you sent me, and this is exactly what we do at Alien Strand Disclosure Project, right? Right? We try to get a lot of these we try to break the analysis on these UAPs and extraterrestrials as well, because, once you've been contacted, or you're a contactee, or even an abductee, once they start, they don't stop. Okay. That's going to be the difference between all this. And so at first it may look like, a bird flying by, or, a smear in the window, things like that. And it's a possibility that could be, on some things, but on things like this, when I zoomed in and then I did the analysis on it a little bit, I was able to catch the electronic magnetic field on. I'm going to take my face off just for a minute, so that way you guys can get a clearer look of what I'm looking at when I'm looking at photos, visuals, things like that. So that way we'll know exactly what we're looking at. Now, she is getting a lot of these UFOs up in the sky that are passing over her home. I think it's in California, I believe. So don't quote me on it, but I think that's where she lives. All right. And she's been sending me a lot of things that have been happening up in her area. And I know it's an apartment complex. It doesn't mean that it can't happen to you. She lives with her son. And the other night, this was 2 to 3 days before that picture I just showed you. She sent me another photo. She goes, I caught this. You need to see this. And then when she sent it to me, bam, that's it right there, right? And I'm like, whoa. I said, where did you get that? And she goes, I took it. Me and my son witnessed this. It's kind of hard to explain. And she's been seeing, I don't know if she's an abductee or not. I can't tell or not. We haven't gone that far in communications, and talking about it. But these are the things they're catching in their apartment or outside the apartment. And it's kind of hard for people to understand what we're looking at here. And to me, it looks like some kind of alien or humanoid, or maybe it could be something supernatural, right? And this is the possibilities of what these things could actually be. And now she's starting to see these things more and more, right? And that's what makes it more difficult to explain to people. I'm not crazy. I'm not a nut. Uh, how do I explain these things, right? Well, how did we do it the last time, right? With Mr. Juanito Juan there in Mexico, Tanipulas, Mexico, right? So this is what he was catching, right? But he would catch a lot of other things at first, orbs, craft flying over. He caught this one. I think I showed it to you here the other day. This was actually after he started taking a lot of photos of extraterrestrials around his home, and then he started catching these crafts. Now he just recently posted some really nice photos. I didn't put them up today, but it's a craft that almost looks like this one, and it's a clear image, man. And these are the ones that are flying over. Now, I don't know, you know, the latest story on him, but I'm just trying to explain to people that there's a lot of activity lately in our skies, and we need to understand exactly what we're seeing and what we're not seeing, right? And a lot of times these extraterrestrials, they come in different forms and shapes and sizes, and we always try to understand exactly what we're looking at, right? And of course, the main kind of extraterrestrial that we do see are or possible gray, what we call them as well. We see this type, right? This is the type that we're mainly seeing. A lot of times they don't have a mouth, you can't really tell, or nose, but this is what a lot of people witness most of the time, right? And this is what we try to put together in different timelines with people and folks that are actually watching what these things do and what they are and what they're about and why, right? That's the answer that we've been looking for the longest time. Why? Right? And of course it's been through history that these things have been coming around us over and over and over, maybe thousands and thousands of years, right? Which we know that now we're starting to see more humanistic things that are buried in the ground. Our footprints, our actual footprint. They do have one in Texas. There's a dinosaur print. There's a human footprint right next to it. So what does that tell you? Hello, a dinosaur and humans million years ago. Come on. So these things probably have been coming around here before that. I mean, I'm not I'm not going to get into the religious and all this other stuff part of it, but I'm just saying that humans have been on this planet for a long time and even before, right? So why not these little things been coming around and wondering what's going on? And even if they're from a different planetary star system, possibly the Pleiades or Zeta Reticuli, things like that, it's a possibility that they're coming just to see what's going on, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's the fact that they're just as curious as we are, right, of what they are, right? So we see spheres everywhere. There's spheres all over the place. We just saw one in the United Kingdom next to the airport. There was no video of that, just a photo. That's all they have. Now, when you see the video of it, which it's not real, the video's not real. That's an AI made video. Okay, so all they have is one still photo of that actual orb that was on the ground, all right, or above, probably about that high off the ground. All right. So these things have been coming around for a long time. And what we do here at Alien Strand and Alien Strand Disclosure Project is that we don't shoot you down, right? And if you are a contactee or an experiencer, we look at you and we want to know what's going on with you, right? And because it's very important to get this information, this data, because we need to know what these things want or what they're about, right? Like I said, what we're seeing here is real. Everything that you're seeing is real, right? We just want to show you that these things do exist. That's it. We're not here to make you believe. That's up to you to decide. So this is what we do at Alien Strand. I just give you the evidence. You figure it out if this is what you believe or this is what you have experienced before. And for you to get it out there, make sure that you do it in a safe zone, a safe group, that there's no trolls, that your admins are on top of their game to where they don't discredit you, and then they make sure that they put you first. Okay, make sure you get on those kind of groups like Alien Strand Disclosure Project. I just joined another one, extraterrestrial, in Australia, because they were having a lot of trolls, and we're starting to police these things really good because we want to hear you, the real true stories, right? Because you're very important. Your story is important. You're not crazy and you're not a nut. We're here for you, right? So make sure that if you see my name as an admin, just make sure that I will protect that group and make sure that your voices are heard, right? Because I want to make sure that the trolls aren't there, everybody's respectful to each other, and everything runs peachy hunky dory, man. That's what we want, because we need to work as a family, right? Work as a family, as a team, and that way we can get this disclosure. Now, before I leave, let me show you this one video. It's out of Russia. You got to see this. You got to see this. It's a quick one, maybe 6 seconds, but check this out real quick. gonna play it over and over so that you can see this thing spinning. So it's actually spinning. All right. Isn't that crazy, man? This thing is just spinning. They're recording it out the car window and they're trying to keep up with it, right? That's a great video of whoever shared that. If you like what I'm doing here, give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, please. Please share these podcasts with anybody out there, even the audio podcast. We've been doing a lot of more audio podcasts out there. Don't forget, tomorrow evening, I'm going to release the podcast of the NDEs and with Mr. Don Rogers and his wife, right? They did have an experience, NDE and near-death experience, and they want to share this with you. So I want to make sure that you guys get to hear that story and their story. It will not be live; it'll just be pre-recorded, but you'll be able to hear it on Spreaker, Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts, and whichever favorite podcast you do use. Please go check this out. It's going to be an audio podcast with these guys. I love them. They're out of Canada, and they're good people. He's even got he has his own podcast on YouTube, and he's just been a really good friend. And I really appreciate them they're both of them for their hard work that they do for disclosure as well. Because even as podcasters, you can go on somebody else's podcast. Hello. Hey, you're here to help each other, right? And if we can get to somebody else that's never heard your voice before, never heard your anything that you have to say, or your thought process, and they want to just hear that, and it's great to share yourself with other podcasters, right? And kind of work together, because the disclosure starts with you, right? And respect, because this is what we need to do with each other as citizen ufologists, right? Remember that, citizen ufologists, because that's who you are. And we're not crazy. We're not nuts. I got thousands of friends out there that follow me, and I appreciate that, and follow everything that we can, because the disclosure, like I said, starts with you, and the respect, and everything that we can do to bring this out to as many people as possible. And like I said, if you have something, you have a story, go to these safe groups where you can. And share your stories, or just share it with me. Send me an instant message. I'd love to hear it. And if you want to talk about it later, get on the podcast show or whatever, I'll be glad to have you on the show. And we can just talk a little bit about it, and just we'll try to figure it out together. That's what we're about, right? I don't work by myself. I work with a bunch of people, and we all help each other, right? So until then, we'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget, tomorrow night I'll be on that podcast, right? It's gonna be audio. You're only going to hear my voice. You're not going to see me. But you'll be able to listen to this podcast. It's going to be a great one. I'm actually going to have another one. Like, don't forget, I'm going to have another one. It's going to be on Patreon. That's going to be an actual video podcast. So go to the Patreon. If you don't have the app, download it. Go join for free. I really appreciate if you guys join. It's free. You can't beat it. And anything that I come out, sometimes I share it to all the members, and then there's some that I share to paid subscribers. All right. So, and it's okay, because later on it'll come out later, maybe in a month or two, that you'll be able to check it out. But, and this just kind of helps the podcast go a little bit further than it needs to go. All right. So, but appreciate you guys. You guys have yourselves a good evening. I know it's late. Go to sleep. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy y'all's evening. Alien Strand Podcast. Don't forget, give me a heart, give me a thumbs up. We'll see you later. Have a good one.